Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Secretary General, colleagues. It does not work? Works. Good. Though I am a deputy head of mission in Bosnia and Herzegovina, deputy head of mission of OSCE officially for only 1 month. And in my 39 years of job experience, unfortunately, I never had been a moderator. But the configuration of our panel, you can see, is promising. We are only 3. And I promise that I will try to round up this part of discussion before anybody faints of hunger. I'm very, and the task of ours is made easier by all previous panels, especially the last one, which dealt with education. And it's an important issue, and it's very important in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm thankful for the panelist Anders Levinson. He again made my life easier, telling you a lot about problems in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Though I presume that esteemed honorable delegates to this conference, they knew a lot even before. But for those few who is not that knowledgeable about what was about the history of this beautiful country, I must say, give just examples. First of all, everybody knows that there was a terrible conflict, military conflict, civilian conflict, a kind of civil war in which over 100,000 estimated 100,000 people died. This figure probably is not complete. The losses were terrible. The population before the war, 4.2 million approximately. A population now less probably than 3.8. We had a successful, I believe, census last year. The results will be announced in, I expect, in several weeks, and we'll see it better. Lots of people, displacement, terrible displacement, both internal and external. Maybe 1 million or something like Bosnians, people from Bosnia and Herzegovina, from this territory who lived there before the war, are somewhere abroad. Even in St. Louis, United States, there are, the community is something over 65,000 people. And what else? The country, the war was stopped by Dayton Peace Agreement, signed in 1995. It was actually a birth certificate for the mission of OSCE in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Since then it exists and operates there. Dayton Agreement left a very complicated structure of the country. 2 entities, Serbian and Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, plus in between Respublika Srpska, the Bričko district. Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, 10 cantons. Can you imagine a country where at different levels of government there are 14 prime ministers, 14 ministries of education? And believe me, for us it's not very easy to bring them all together, to let alone to constructively work with each other. But there are some successes here, and we move forward. But education matters are very important and interconnected with hate crimes, about which my colleagues will speak more profoundly, because there are at least 3 different sets of history books. It was mentioned here. The schools are divided. It's not in all areas, but in some areas of the country there are these so-called 2 schools under one roof, where there's a wall inside between 2 parts. And even the courtyards are separate. Children don't mix. It's a big problem. Hate crimes have a kind of religious, a bit of religious and national origin. And to work on it, you have to teach children to communicate with each other, to be friends. And so it's one of key issues. Taking into account that this was pretty long, I can say just the following. In each state of OSCE, there is a problem of radicalism to this or that extent. But in each country, this range of problems is unique. And when you deal with this problem, you have to take into account, of course, the regional, local peculiarities which exist in each country. Importance of fight against hate crimes is also in the fact that very often, or most oftenly, these crimes and acts are directed against the most vulnerable sections, parts, groups of population. Children, old people, and the last, or even not the last and not the least, the displaced persons. Until now, approximately 8,000 people continue to live in collective centers. And it's absolutely inhuman. Those who deal with migration and refugees, and I dealt with this problem for quite a long time. 3 cornerstones of return: honorable, safe, and sustainable. Okay, honorable. How it can be honorable when there are hate crimes? It's impossible. Sustainable. How it can be sustainable when there's social, economic situation which forces young people to leave the country and to work abroad because there's no job. In some parts of the country, 20 years after the war. I myself was born after Second World War in the city, it was called then Stalingrad, now Volgograd. And it was in better shape than some places in the country. Safe. How it could be safe when you have 4% of territory of the country infected by landmines, and people 20 years after the war continue to be injured, severely injured, or even die there. There was a terrible, it was several years ago, terrible event when paraplanners from abroad came and didn't know that such thing could happen, and they landed on the field, minefield. Okay. I think it's high time for me to give floor to my esteemed colleagues who will tell you more about fight against hate crime in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And first, I give the floor to Sladjana Mulinovic, who works in the office, in the mission as national program officer.
Thank you. Hello to all of you. As we do not have time, I will immediately start talking about coalitions against hate and the project that mission started in 2013. And it was very interesting for us to see that this project actually came through different activities. It was developed during coffee breaks and ordinary talks with citizens, because they said, okay, all these workshops on human rights, on education, everything is fine, but 20 years after the war, we are still afraid. And we still have people who hate each other, but we do not talk about hate because everything is nice. You know, we have to show that things are going on, that there are positive changes. But we've been approached by parents who were in prison camps, who were wounded and who said, okay, I don't hate anybody, but I see that my child hates. Who teaches him or her to hate? Why does my son goes and breaks a window on the mosque? I don't have anything to do with that. And we had really good examples where actually parents turned in their kids for doing such things because they do not support that. But now we have a generation of young people who are distant from their parents and who are easily impressed by different groups, including very radical groups. They cannot find support in the system because, as previous speakers said, the system is quite broken. Issues with 2 schools under one roof, so many governments, there is no one who can actually support young people. And they said, you know, the only person that we can talk to is waitress in a cafe shop. She's like the only one who shows interest for what is going on with us. So we started from that. And I think that the good thing and the good solution for some problems that we heard about here is that we should start from bottom level, really from grassroots organizations. We have many organizations in Bosnia that were supported and still are supported by different donor organizations, and they receive funds and they develop cute projects, but they do not have anything to do with citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina. They are either Sarajevo-based or Banja Luka-based, and they do not reach to citizens. So in these coalitions, we have 120 organizations, and I don't know how many individuals. So we literally have bakers or people who just want to fight hate in their own yards. So I think that is also one good approach, because we said that we should have some sort of early warning to prevent radicalization, to prevent conflicts, and we cannot have that early warning if we are going to cooperate with 2 or 3 big shot civil society organizations. We really have to somehow reach people. people in coalitions, they really show interest because they are afraid of hate. They do not want to go to the same thing through the war, and they are afraid for their kids and who is bringing them up. So in the mission, we also developed a tool, and you can see more about it in front of this hall. It is called Hate Monitor. So it is a monthly visualization tool where we actually count and show hate incidents and responses to hate incidents, because it is important to see that these things are happening. We cannot be silent about that. And 98% of hate incidents are motivated by ethnicity and religion. So it is still a huge problem in Bosnia. But Hate Monitor also shows that there are responses, that citizens do respond to hate crimes. And this is also a very important thing, because coalitions against hate, and they act in 20 cities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, they actually showed through more than 30 public condemnations that they care. So we are trying to break this bystander mentality and apathy. And it is really important because coalitions receive messages and emails from citizens who were attacked in hate incidents and hate crimes, and who say, thank you very much, it is important to know that there are people who do not support that the entire community doesn't support hate and incidents. We have somebody also mentioned that we need heroes, that we need brave people. I can freely say that these are brave people because they face open threats and attacks because of what they do. But they continue to do that. And Mirela, as she's a member of one of these coalitions, will tell you more about that. We also noticed what was mentioned last night, that there is a huge problem with media. We can all say media, they are important, they are independent or whatever, but we also know in Bosnia that they are very manipulated, and that it is difficult to send good messages because they are either influenced, not all of them of course, but in many situations influenced by politics or those people who finance them, or they are just chasing clicks and whatever it is important to them, but they neglect what is important for community. So that is the reason that we decided to work more on social media. And therefore we have a special web platform, and you can find it on www.supergrađani.ba, which is now a good tool for mapping incidents and positive reactions. But unlike Hate Monitor, which represents information collected by the mission professional staff, information to supergrađani.ba we receive from citizens, and they can report with their names or anonymous. And this is very important because we receive messages from them, and we can actually see that this thing called early warning really works, because we had some problems in city of Doboj recently, and 2 or 3 weeks before it happened, we received messages from citizens who are saying, okay, we are worried, this looks like 1992, what is going on? So we also use this platform to promote positive stories. And there are more than 200 activities implemented by coalitions against hate. We also decided to step back from round tables, long discussions, printing leaflets, etc. We just want dialogue through action, and that is what they do. They talk about issues, and then they act to prevent problems in their communities. What we also noticed as a really important thing is that, you know, whenever something happens in Serbia or Montenegro or Croatia, it has some sort of spillover effect in Bosnia. So if, I don't know, church is attacked in Kosovo, immediately there is a reaction in Bosnia and somebody wants to revenge that church by attacking the mosque. So I believe that it is important to use this tool to promote positive stories, positive voices, and to do that also on some sort of regional-based cooperation, because if these, let's call them bad guys, cooperate and they all use same approach to radicalize people, to get them into their movements, somehow we have to also connect these good forces and give them opportunity to speak and give examples of that is really important to cooperate and somehow show good things in the community. Another important thing is that, as I said, we really use social media a lot. So members of coalitions manage to agree on different things just using free tools such as Facebook. They have their closed group and they cooperate through the closed group. So they also manage to develop public condemnations or send joint messages or talk about different and plan different activities using Facebook. So immediately we cut this problem, which is usually posted to us by civil society organizations. Okay, we do not have money to travel, we do not have money to call each other, which is really important thing because somebody mentioned today and yesterday that poverty is also a problem. You know, people cannot sometimes afford to be active, but they really can afford to understand that it is important to defend their homes from hate, from radicalization, and all these things that radicalization and hate bring. And I will now let Mirela tell you more about their work and the importance of their work for coalition.
Well, hello everyone. I will be the shortest here. And I'm coming from Sarajevo, a coalition against hate, ignore differences. And I will speak to you about my personal everything about this coalition, really, because I'm born before this war and I was a little girl when war ended and I can't see why people hate each other. And then I started working and I really have to say big thanks to OSCE mission in Bosnia and Herzegovina because they let us, civil society, to work on this sensitive but very, very important theme for Bosnia and Herzegovina and our society because you are not aware how much hate we see every day. In newspaper, in social media, just talking with each other, people hate because everything and they find some solution and they find some, how would I say that, they reason to hate each other and they say that's okay. I am Mirela and I'm working on this for 2 years from beginning and I don't hate and I try to say people don't do that and that's wrong and give some examples, but no, that's our society. In start we didn't have any good and positive reaction from these haters. And then one day I got a message on Facebook and they said to me they will kill me. And they said to me they will, I don't know, send me with these guys on some I don't know, on some place to let me to see why they hate them. I still don't know solution and don't know reason why they hate that group. And everyone thought I will stop with working and I will stop with this fight against hate, but really it's not reason to stop it. That just gave me more reason to work and I'm not the only example in our country that has some messages or face-to-face threatening, really. But we see that as a good thing to work more. They hate us because we are eliminated them, and we are trying to clear that hate and give some good examples, more space. I won't speak anymore. I would like to speak, I would like to invite you all to speak about coalition against hate all over Bosnia because we really have great examples and we are short with time, so I won't be bothering now. Thank you.
Before I give possibility for those people with the strong will who remains in the audience to give them possibility to ask questions. I want just to say that don't you have an idea that Bosnia and Herzegovina is a country full of hate? No, It's full of hope. And the young generation of this country is a guarantee that this beautiful country, one of the most beautiful in the world. And I was a head of section for migration and refugees, and I traveled the whole world. And if there's anybody here from Switzerland, don't blame me, but I should say Bosnia is more beautiful than Switzerland. And if the Secretary General was here, he would probably support my statement, because we had an honor to host SG recently, and he had seen at least part of the country. And he visited, of course, Srebrenica. The anniversary of what happened there will be commemorated, the 20th anniversary will be commemorated this year. I also wanted you to have in mind that sometimes there's a general tendency to simplify things, and very often to see only one side of the coin. There's no one side. There are at least 2 or maybe 5, though it remains a coin. These terrible events which took part during the war were the reason for it. We can dig up in the centuries of complicated history of Balkans. Hostilities and misperceptions have very deep roots, ending not only in Second World War or First World War, but much deeper. So now
Can I say thank you? We actually didn't budget time for questions, but I'd encourage people to ask questions during the lunch break, because we want to make sure everyone has time to eat. And we are delighted with the presentation you've made on behalf of the Secretary General, so thank you.
In this case, I have to make a final statement that we are open. We are at your disposal. You can ask us questions. You can communicate with us with the help of internet on the mission sites. And the last thing, I was asked to announce that there will be a side event in the Bibliothek Salt